Hello, we are doing another lab today. Today we're going to be doing a packet tracer lab. So to access that material, I'm going to get into your cyber security essentials, log into your network academy, get to your cybersecurity essentials material, open up the reading material. Doesn't really matter which chapter you open up because we're going to go right down to this course index once that opens up. And today we are doing a packet tracer lab in chapter 6. We are doing 6.2.3.8 packet tracer router and switch redundancy lab. So go ahead and get to that section in your reading material. You want to download this PDF. If you are in my class, you want to make sure and download this PDF, fill out all of the blanks for the questions, get that saved and turned in. You also want to download the packet tracer file, the PKA. And again, if you're in my class, you want to make sure you get that all filled out and turned in so you can get credit for this lab. So once you have those things downloaded, go to where your downloads are at, open your packet tracer lab. Wait patiently for packet tracer to do its thing and get us into this lab. Okay, here we go. Make sure you put your name on it. If you're in my course and you're turning this in, you want to make sure that your name is on it so that you make sure that you get credit for all this hard work that you do in the lab. I always like to click this dock button so I don't lose the instructions. It puts it into the main window. And here we go. So in this activity, you will observe the successful failover of the Metropolis network utilizing multiple routers to provide default gateway redundancy. Afterwards, across the world, you will observe the successful network failover of the Gotham network utilizing multiple switches to provide redundant network pathways. The IP addressing, network configuration, and service configurations are already complete. That sentence is not quite true. There's a little thing that we got to do to as we go through. We'll address that when we get there. You will use the client devices in the different geographical regions to test the pathways before and after successful network failover. So that is our background scenario for the lab that we are doing here. I'm going to move right on into part one. Part one is click the Metropolis Bank headquarters site, and then click on Phil's computer, and then click the desktop tab and click on the command prompt. So we're going to go here to the Metropolis Bank. I'm gonna, do I need to zoom out or can we see everything here? Yeah, we're good. We can see everything here. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, so Metropolis Bank headquarters, go into Phil's computer, click on this top checkbox so we don't lose the machine, and going to desktop, go into command prompt. All right, part two here. We're going to ping the external web server on the internet by entering ping and the IP address there. I'm just going to drag, select, copy, and paste. Hit the enter key. Oh, there's one thing we're going to have to fix. Let's see, we're getting timeouts here. So I'm going to hit the Control C button to cancel this ping. And we're going to type in IP config. And we're going to see that Phil does not have an IP address. See there, Phil has no IP address. That's a problem. he's not set up right. Very easy fix. If you've been doing any of these labs in the past with me, you know that this is a common thing that we see. Very easy fix. You just type in ipconfig again, but you add a space, slash, and the word renew. That is going to renew his machine at the main router there, get him an IP address, and we're good to go. So now we can run that ping command again. I'm just going to press the up button a couple times, get back to that command in our history, our command line history, and then you press the enter key, and we're going to ping this 209.165.201.10. Still getting timeouts. Let's see if we get through at all. Oh, there we go. We got through once. We only got through 1 out of 4 times. Let's try again here and see if we can't get 4 in a row. We got 2. We got 3. Bada bang, we got 4. So we do got ourselves a connection to the external web. Now we're going to trace the path to the external web server on the internet by entering the traceroute command and that same IP address there. So again, I'm just going to drag and select, right click, copy, right click, paste into the command line and hit the enter button. And we're going to see all of the different hops between our machine and the external web server. Looks like we got 4 different hops. Each IP address shown in the output of the traceroute command is a network device that network traffic is crossing. What are the IP addresses of the devices that the traffic from Phil's laptop is crossing to reach the external web server? That is these 4 IP addresses here. You can enter those in your PDF right there. I am going to recommend that whenever you, if you're in my class and please do it this way. Instead of dragging, selecting, and copying, if you can actually, let's find that PDF here. So on this PDF, if you can actually type in each one of those, so it would be like this: 10.44.1.2, and then the next one, 10.45.2.2, and then the next one. And so type in those 4 ones. And the reason I say that is because if you copy and paste these like this, you see how you can't actually see them without scrolling down. And depending on how you save the PDF, if you save it, actually, I'm not even sure if it matters how you save it. But anyway, a lot of times whenever people do this and they turn them in, I'm not actually able to see because I sometimes can't scroll on the assignment when you turn it in. So best for you to just type them all in. I guess you can copy and paste it and then just delete all this stuff, make it a 1-line thing for me to see. You could do it like this. Oops, delete a little extra too much there. You see what I'm saying though? If you guys can, if you're in my class and you're turning in this PDF, if you can please try and put all the IP addresses on 1 line like this. See there, now whenever you turn it in, there is no scrolling needed, and I definitely will be able to see them. That's something we probably want to do for all labs in the future as well. But that's a little bit of a sidetrack from our packet tracer lab. Let's get back into it here. Okay, so we've run the trace route command, each IP address. We've done that. We've got the IP addresses of all the nodes between our machine and the external web. And then comparing the output, this is step 2, part D, comparing the output of the trace route command to the addressing table at the beginning of this lab, which router is operating as the current default gateway. So you can see our very first hop is almost always going to be the default gateway, and in this case it is. So we've got 10.44.1.2, and up here our default gateway, or in our routing table, we can see that 10.44.1.2 is R1. So R1 is acting as our default gateway, it would appear. That's what you would put in there, which is just the very first address that was returned from the traceroute command. So just to be clear, that first address right here, which you probably got the exact same thing, but if not, whatever this first address right here is what goes in as the answer here for that one. Step 3, cause a network failover. So within the Metropolis Bank headquarters site, click on the switch HQS1, click on the CLI tab, and disable the uplink port using the following commands. Okay, so let's get rid of Phil's computer for the current moment. We want to go to the S1, which is this one right here. Depending on how you have your thing zoomed in or out, it's kind of hard to read that. But the HQ S1 router is this one right here. It's got Bob and Phil in Office 2. So we want to open that one up. Click our little top checkbox so we don't lose the machine. Go into the command line interface. And what I like to do is go to the bottom here and select it and just hit enter a bunch of times so that you can actually see the command line that you're entering into. And you can do this. Make sure and select the very last character, the N, and the word shutdown, and hold your mouse button and slide all the way to the very beginning letter E and the word enable. Once you have all that selected, you can copy it and go down here and right click and paste it. And now you should just be able to hit the enter key and it will run all of these commands and it will shut down our HQ_S1 router. As you can see here, it says changed state to down. If you don't see this line right here, this change state to down, if you don't see that, you didn't get these entered correctly. You need to walk through them again. Maybe if you absolutely need to, you can select one at a time and put them on the command line. But you got to see this change state to down, otherwise you didn't get it done correctly and won't be able to go on with the next steps. I do have this change state to down, so I can move on here to step 4. Within the Metropolis Bank headquarters, click on Laptop Phil. Oh, I should have maybe kept Phil's laptop up because we need it now. So let's close this, get back to Phil. Oh, I think I clicked something wrong there. Desktop. Yeah, somehow or another actually, oh, I must accidentally clicked right there. Let's get our command line back up and running. Click this top checkbox so we don't lose that machine off in the background. Okay, so we're on step 4, part P. Part C. We're going to ping the external web server on the internet by entering this ping. Lots of pings in this lab. Let's get back to our command line. Okay, you see we are able to ping it. And we're going to run that traceroute command again. Let's see if I just can't push the up key. Yeah, there we go. 209.165.201.10. So we're running the traceroute command again. Got something a little bit different this time, don't we? So as you can see here now, our default gateway is not the R1 because the R1's gone. We turn that off. We are now going through the R2, 10.44.1.3. See if I can find my place here where we were at. Okay, each IP address shown. Sorry, a little lost here. We killed it. Back to Phil's computer. We did the ping. Okay, so we're right here. Step 4. Sorry about that. Got a little bit lost in the directions so I'm moving up and down. So each IP address shown in the output of the traceroute command is a network device that network traffic is crossing. IP address from Phil's. What are the IP addresses of the devices? Again, if you can put all of those in and try to put them all on one line, looks like there's 4 IP addresses. You should probably have the exact same thing. But put them all in to answer this question to get credit for the lab if you're in my class turning this in. So letter F here. In the command prompt, enter the command IP config. The default gateway is listed as 10.44.1.1, which is neither 10.44.1.2 from the first time the traceroute command was given, nor is it 10.44.1.3 from the second time the traceroute command was given. This shows that the default gateway of 10.44.1.1 is actually routed through redundant routers with different IP addresses. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Get ourselves going up until we have that IP config command, and we can see right here it's showing default gateway 10.4.1.1. This shows that the default gateway 10.44.1.1 is actually routed through redundant routers with different IP addresses. Router R1 at 10.44.1.2 or router R2 at 10.44.1.3 if R1 is not available. You would kind of have to guess that based on looking at your IP config. It would be a pretty good educated guess to put that together. Running the trace route and seeing this, running IP config and figuring this, you put those two together and you can tell what's going on. Okay, so we're going to part 2 here. Observe a network failover with redundant switches. Access, this is step 1 of part 2, access the command prompt on Tim's computer from the Gotham Healthcare branch site, and then click on Tim's computer, go to the desktop and the command prompt. Okay, so we'll see you later, Phil. We're going to get out of the Metropolis Bank. We're going over here to the healthcare branch. And, whoa, can't see anything, can we? Oh, there we go. And we're going to Tim's computer. Let's click our little checkbox to keep this window up in front of us. Desktop, command prompt. On to step 2 here. So we're going to ping the external web server. Again, this should be very familiar. This is the 3rd time we've done this. We're just on a different computer. We're on Tim's computer this time. Oh, I bet you Tim may not have a... I bet Tim isn't set up correctly. Okay, so Control C. So these are the things that the instructions do not tell us. They actually tell us that it's already configured, but it's not. So hopefully this is helpful to anybody watching this video who's run into this issue. So you can see here, Tim has no IP address. It's very simple to get him one. You just type in ipconfig/renew. That's going to reach out to the DHCP server and say, hey, I'm here. Let's do some networking and get himself an IP address assigned to him. So now that we've done that, now we can do that ping command. Let's see what happens when we do it now. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some failed packets, though. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. We got a failure. Oh, we're getting through now. 1, 2, and 3. I like to get four replies successfully so we can call it a good connection. Okay, we are good. Moving on, step 1, part B. In order to observe the network failover, a constant ping can be used. So basically, you just to keep the ping going, because by default it just sends does 4 pings. But to keep the ping going, you can actually use this tact command. So we put in this ping with the option of -t and then the IP address. If you're kind of new to doing command line entries, let's kind of go over this real quick. It's ping, P-I-N-G, then a space, then a hyphen, a lowercase letter t, then a space, and then the IP address that you are pinging. This will just ping from here to eternity, or as long as your computer is still turned on, it will continue to send those pings. So now we're going to minimize that window. And we're going to cause a network failover. So within the Gotham Healthcare branch site, we're going to go to the S3. That's this one right here. So just a real quick thing here, because there's going to be some questions at the end here. At the current moment, this is the path that Tim's going. It's going S3, S1, router 2, modem, on to the rest of the world. And we're going to kill this S3. is what we're doing basically. So let's pull this up. Step 3, part A, pulling that up. Part B, go to the command line. Part C, put in this command, or these set of commands. So again, I like to go to the bottom of the page and hit the enter key. Hit as many times as you want, just to make sure we're looking at this command prompt here. I'm going to drag and select everything from the last letter N and the word shutdown to the very first letter E and the word enable, and then hit copy. Oh, whoops, lost my window. Let's get S3 back up here. I'm going to click this top button. See, that's what happens if you don't click this top button. You will lose the window while you're moving around. So get back to the command prompt with a little click, do a right click and paste it. That's going to put in all of these commands in here. You can do them one at a time. You can manually type them in. I don't recommend that. I recommend doing exactly how I just showed you. Then once you got those all pasted in, you hit the enter key. And you should see this here, change state to down. That's showing us that this S3 router is shut down. If you don't see the change state to down, hit your enter key a few times, get this command prompt back up and going, and do what I just showed you and get these entered in here. You got to get that change state to down to show, otherwise you have not completed this step 3. So if you didn't get it with what I just showed you, you have to figure it out. So we've shut down S3. We're going to go to step 4 here within the Gotham Healthcare branch site. Maximize Tim's window here. There we go. So you can see Tim has, he's pinging the external web server and he's not getting anything back. So his connection has been shut down. Let's read what it says here. So within the healthcare, maximize Tim's window. Wait about 30 to 60 seconds. You can see. You can also watch the switch port links, lights, and we can look at the map and see that's what it's telling us. Let's close this one here. See what we can do. There we go. See how I pointed out that connection was going earlier? That connection's dead now. That router's dead. So now it's basically going to S. It's going through these cables here because your S3 is dead. So now we can close this window. I'm going to kill the ping though first with a Control C. And we'll close that window there. Okay, which cable was the data crossing during the successful ping replies? I already went over that with you. That answer goes right in here. Which cable was the data crossing during the successful ping replies after? That was this route right here. What does this scenario prove about switch failover redundancy when a gigabit Ethernet port is shut down all of a sudden? Okay, so going to answer all 3 of those kind of all together here. So I already went over the route, but to get credit for this assignment, if you're in my class and you're turning it in, you need to tell me that it was the cable between the S3 and the S1 is what it was going through before we shut it down. Now it's going through the cable going through S3 to S2 to S1 because the main port here for whatever reason was shut down, and there must be some type of through port going like that, going through there. So put that in your own words, make it as simple as possible. There's not a lot of room to answer these questions here. So what does this scenario prove? It proves that if you have redundant routers, because see, we have more than one router here. We actually got 3 in the mix. But we have redundant routers that are taking these computers and putting them through. If you were to kill this cable here between S3 and S2, you would not have redundant routers because Mike would only have S2 to get through. Tim would only have S3. And then if you cut off either one of those, these guys would lose connection. So see, these are connected here in between, giving us redundancy before it moves on to S1 and on its merry way. So let's make sure that I've done everything correctly. We'll hit this check results button. Congratulations. All right. Congratulations. You successfully completed the packet tracer, blah, 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 blah. Let's check out our assessment items. So there's 2 things that it's checking here, 20 points each. If you don't got green check marks here, go back to that part of the instructions and figure it out. Click around until you do have green check marks there so you can get full credit for this if you're in my class. And if you're not, just doing that to make sure you understand the material. Make sure and get those turned in if you're in my class for full credit. Otherwise, have a great day.